Hello, people of the interwebs. My name is Brandon Noel. I'm a cartoonist, publisher, writer, creator, and this is that drawing show thing. I do a sketch, and then I speed up the footage, and I talk about the character or whatever I'm talking about that week. This week, I wanted to talk about Supergirl. I have just seen the CBS pilot. If you're unaware, CBS is doing a Supergirl television show. They had a pilot, and what happened is they released a 6-minute trailer, a pretty long trailer, and the fan reaction was fairly negative. There were some people who liked it, but for the most part, the overall reaction was pretty negative. And then within the next couple of hours, the pilot leaked online, and it's an HD pilot. So a lot of people are speculating that CBS put out the pilot to kind of shut down the negativity coming out. I've just seen the pilot the other night, and for the most part, it's done really well. It's very, very well done. Now, I have to say, I am a Supergirl fan. As a kid, two of the real VHS tapes that I burned out were the Supergirl movie and Superman 4 Quest for Peace. I don't know why I only had four, but it's kind of why when a lot of people are badmouth number 4 for being a cruddy Superman movie, I'm reserved because I have a lot of fond memories attached to the movie. And in all honesty, it's not a bad movie. Watching Superman fight Nuclear Man, um, as a kid is pretty impressive. It sticks with you. The older Supergirl movie, who they actually cast the original Supergirl, I forget her name, as you know the Ma Kent character for Supergirl. All in all, it was done very well. The new CBS pilot. I have a couple of complaints, mostly the pronunciation. They kept screwing up Supergirl's name, Kara. Um, I feel like there should have been an advisor on set for those kinds of pronunciation issues. I know Jeff Johns is supposed to be that guy, but given how busy his schedule is, I have a hard time believing he could oversee everything. There was one moment that sticks out in my mind, nails on a chalkboard. Supergirl was given this relic from her spaceship, this element of her home planet, and instead of saying Kryptonian, she says Kryptonese to describe the writing. For the last 75 years, it's been Kryptonian. This is the first time I've ever heard of it referred to as Kryptonese. Nails on a chalkboard. Even in the Batman Superman comic book, where we find out Bruce Wayne knows how to read Kryptonian because Clark Kent taught him, Batman calls it Kryptonian, not Kryptonese. And I love that book because there's actually in the back, there's a letter per letter symbol for the language that correlates with English. Even though I will say the Smallville did a better design thing of the overall language. Smallville with Kryptonian, each symbol was a different word, and you compound the words on each other to form a sentence. It was very, very well thought out. But overall, the Supergirl pilot, it's pretty decent. I'm hoping that things will get better. I was hoping for more Dean Cain and more like the original Supergirl. They just have a cameo. They don't even have any lines in the pilot. There's a character who is the if this was Smallville, the Chloe analysis, there's a nerdy guy who kind of wants to get with Supergirl, and he asks her out before he knows he's. And I really wish that character was more developed. At one point, there's a scene where he's building her costumes, and I'd like to know his background in that regard. And in an era where we have Kryptonian armor, like the costume is a Gambeson, um, I don't feel there needed to be a costume design sequence. Um, but that was just the way they went so they can get their montage so you can see her wearing kind of a something similar to her 80s goofy costume, which was a nice little Easter egg. There's a lot of little Easter eggs for the die-hard fans. But I would rather see that him discovering, like with Chloe and Clark in Smallville, there was a long build-up to her finally figuring out who Superman is. And he even writes for like a tabloid on the side, very similar to the Wall of Weird. So I have to say he's kind of like pulled right out of Smallville. The Jimmy Olsen, perfect. Their Jimmy Olsen is everything I want to see in a modern day Jimmy Olsen. He's confident, he's cool, he's Superman's pal. Well done, well thought out. Really enjoyed Jimmy Olsen. Couldn't get enough Jimmy Olsen. Now Cat Grant, who is played by Ally McBeal, the actress who did Ally McBeal. I'm really bad with actresses' names, but Cat Grant, for those of you who are older comic book fans, in The Adventures of Lois and Clark, Cat Grant was the slutty nightlife reporter who had her own column, who was always kind of hitting on Clark Kent. And going back to Smallville, in Smallville they changed her. They made her more of a die-hard conservative Republican character. And as that evolved, she's turned more into an allegory for Bill O'Reilly. I really love Cat Grant as this Bill O'Reilly analogous, and you can do more with the character that way. You can really do more with Cat Grant, and there's more for a veteran actor to sink her teeth into. It looks like the overall villain of the new Supergirl series, what they're building up to, is going to be Zod and the Zod invasion. I'd like to see them, go ahead and make a firm stance and cast a Superman and show Superman in some of the later episodes. Dealing with Supergirl, I think the best representation in other media is the Superman the Animated Series, because they introduced her, they developed her, and you would see her, represented every so often, and she felt like a fully fledged character. Now, going back to Jimmy Olsen, there was this like sexual tension in the comics and in the animated series between Supergirl and Jimmy. I don't think they're going to follow up with that, but I'd really like to see more Jimmy Olsen. So I'd like to see a Jimmy, crush on Supergirl. I think that would be really fun. But like personally, when it comes to Supergirl, my personal two favorite things are the animated series, where we even saw her developed all the way up through Justice League, where in the Justice League animated series, they gave Supergirl several episodes to even develop further, ultimately with her leaving the Justice League and joining the Legion of Superheroes, which I don't know if anyone's ever ran with that ball, but that would be really fun. I would read a Supergirl series with her on the Legion of Superheroes dating Brainiac 5. That would be a little bit of a deep cut there, but that would be really fun. And then the other, like in the comics, I didn't really care for her in the New 52. I have to say the only one I think really got Supergirl was in the early 2000s. Adam Hughes had a run on Supergirl, and it's not just because Adam Hughes was drawing it. I think they really found the tone of a snarky, superpowered teenager, which I really enjoyed. The series is obviously a different tone because they're going for more of an adult, grown-up woman, Sex in the City, young woman in the city vibe for Supergirl. All in all, I would say give Supergirl a chance. If you're a diehard fan, um, there is enough there for the comic book viewing community to rally behind. Just know it's not your Supergirl. This is meant to bring in people into the, I doubt we're going to see any stories involving Red Lanterns or the Legion of Superheroes anytime soon. But I could be surprised. They did a lot with Flash, bringing in a lot of those deep cuts into the series. So, well, thank you, and have a good day.